funny story that I heard while I was outside. Somebody says their opponent went turn 1 Ancient Tomb Grim Monolith, and they were like, okay, he stacks. And they went on their turn, they played something, and they passed, and he went turn 2 Voltaic Key, tap my Grim Monolith, untap my Grim Monolith, Kadolta Forge Master, Lightning Greaves, equip Lightning Greaves, Kadolta Forge Master, sacrifice Kadolta Forge Master and other artifacts, search my library for Blightsteel Colossus, put it into play.
And then you've got the Greaves, right? Is the Greaves like gone or is...
Nope, the Greaves you didn't have to sacrifice.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's how somebody died. Doesn't seem too consistent, but it's pretty awesome that it happened to somebody.
I mean, when I see a card like a Voltaic Key or a card like Candelabra of Tawnos, I pay attention that something is going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
There's like some reason they want to untap it, whatever that case may be, like land or artifact.
I mean, he just killed him the turn he played the key.
Okay. Okay, so we're waiting for a mulligan to resolve, it looks like.
Yeah, Mike's just mulliganing. Yeah, so, I mean, this matchup could be interesting. The mulliganing's pretty dangerous against Jeremy's deck.
Oh, totally.
Like, he has Gerard's Verdict and Hymns and Thoughtseizes. Like, you mulligan, you're in some trouble. Again, though, Jeremy's also on 6 cards. He has a Mazavith in his hand, which is literally just a stone nothing. Mike keeps a hand with a bunch of wastelands. I thought I silenced them.
Yeah, Mike is playing, like, when I look at a deck like Junk, a lot of times the reason that people don't exactly respect Junk is that they don't see anything specifically powerful in and of itself. You know, like, but what the deck does do is it tears away the powerful stuff that you're doing. So that little by little, it just says, nah, let's just whittle you down, and by the way, I have the 2 best 2-drops in Magic. I've got Tarmogoyf and Dark Confidant.
Yeah, those are pretty good 2-drops.
It can drop those things into play with Mox Diamond on turn 1. Like, its ideal start is to go probably turn 1 Dark Confidant against some opponents, or turn 1 Tarmogoyf against other opponents. And then on the next turn, tear things up with Thoughtseizes, you know, with Thoughtseize Hymn, that kind of thing. Now this build actually might be slightly different than the Columbus build. It has 2 Gerard's Verdict, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think that there was only 1 Gerard's Verdict in Columbus. And there we go. Speak of the devil, turn 1 Hymn to Turak.
And I think he got both of Mike's lands.
Okay, let's see what happens. Is it going to be a go? Oh my god, I have not seen that happen since Necro Summer. Turn 1, Hymn to Turak, take both your lands, opponent goes, well, that sucks.
Go. That's pretty rough.
I have not seen that happen in, what, 13 years. In his hand, he has 2 Vindicates.
See? You can just hit me.
GL.
I play 24 lands on the deck, too.
Well.
Not that. Okay, so I really just want to see, all that needs to happen now for Jeremy to take this game over is to draw any creature. Any creature is gonna wrap this puppy up.
Anything playing him to Torok, randomly.
I mean, we look at the other deck, right? Michael Pozsgay has no Mox and no 1 casting cost counterspell, which means that those Vindicates are just, there we go. What is that? There's Bob.
what?
And Bob says,
17.
is that a land? Wasteland, maybe?
That's swords.
Is it swords? Okay. And there's a land. And Glenn Jones says that now Michael Pozsgay has an out because there's a Bob in play.
Yeah.
Go.
And that's a Tarmogoyf, I think.
Wow, this is
Now, obviously,
terribly unlucky.
I mean, obviously, Jeremy Banks won the Hymn to Torok lottery. But,
He
you
did
know,
in fact win the Tarek lottery.
there is a reason that back in the day, Hymn to Torok was not only one of the most maddening cards, but just one of the best cards.
Hey, it still is.
2 cards
That's
at
so good.
random is just ridiculous.
Yeah, you just got hit with a hippie twice. Remember in Chandelar when you get to the cave and you have to fight the guy who starts with a Hypnotic Spectre in play? It was impossible.
Yes, the
Yeah,
Black
the
Vice
Black
guy
Vice
is better
the
than...
hardest, So he's now sacrificing a Horizon Canopy and draw an extra card. He's actually just playing against a non-opponent.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this is sort of like in Two-Headed Giant, when you destroy one of the giant's heads. And there's the fast, quick kill of Knight of the Reliquary. It might get forced, might not. Is there anything left from Pozsgay to stop it? Nope, that one resolves. It's got the reminder counter of how big it is. And he still doesn't have a land.
I'll enter discard.
And so on the other side of the table, Jeremy is sandbagging 2 Vindicates. He's got a Wasteland in play. And the Knight of the Reliquary gets to untap and be
Foil Jace the Mind
unsick.
Sculpt there?
Yeah, that's a foil Jace.
That's pretty impressive.
Gets,
Really?
and here they come. One
That's
hit
just
more
gluttonous.
and it's over. I kind of feel like I would have just Thoughtseize there, but I don't know that it matters. Okay, so maybe we'll see what happens when the Hymn to Torok lottery doesn't go so well for Jeremy. Michael Pozsgay, in terms of sideboard
I mean,
possibilities...
Mike would have lost that even if even if the hymn never happened. He had double Wasteland, 2 non-colored lands, and he had a div top, and I think he was relying on, like all he needed was a blue source because he had like brainstorms and things like that in his hand, like predicts, but like 1 brainstorm and 1 predict, which is like good enough to like get you out of that spot, like just with 1 blue, but he never saw another land. No, he just. Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, just because he does have 13 ways to have a basic land in play. So that if he had land, I mean, he could have, through those initial wastelands, been fine.
But he didn't draw any more land, though.
But that's
He
just
never
it. If
drew-
he has a basic land, I believe he had an Enlightened Tutor at one point, so he can use the Brainstorm Enlightened Tutor to shuffle. I mean, like,
Well, I mean, he
depends on what
doesn't
happens.
have any colored mana. He never would have had colored mana. That whole game. Even
What?
if the hymn hadn't happened, he never would have had colored mana.
But why?
Because he never would have drawn colored mana. He never
No,
had a
that's
chance
just
to.
it. You're incorrect, because he would have had the opportunity to shuffle the deck.
No, he wouldn't. How?
Huh?
2 wastelands. Yeah.
Oh.
So he wouldn't have been able to Enlighten Tutor or use any of those cards.
I'm confused as what you're saying. You're saying, say that again. Because the way I'm hearing it is like there are 13 lands that he has in his deck that could have been basic lands because of the force act or the.
The cards that he drew, he only drew blue spells, and that's it.
Yeah, he never drew any colored lands.
Spells, he had a top list. The top doesn't let him see any new cards. He didn't draw any cards that would let him shuffle with all colors.
What were the lands that got hit?
2 wastelands.
Oh, I didn't realize it was wasteland.
Yeah, it
wasteland.
was double wasteland.
Oh, okay. See, that's
He
what I
had
didn't
mulligans,
understand.
and he ended up keeping a wasteland top hand.
I did not understand that. I thought he had
okay.
different land that he had that were. It was wasteland. So he kept wasteland.
Well, he mulliganed.
Oh, fair enough.
And he kept wasteland top. That's like completely reasonable.
That's fair. Okay. I misunderstood. I thought that he had a different set of lands in his hand. That's what I missed. I thought you were claiming that Jeremy Banks had wastelands, and that's what I thought you were saying.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I misunderstood what you guys were talking about.
Oh, yeah, he definitely has wastelands.
Michael has 4 wastelands. Sorry, Jeremy has 4 wastelands. Yeah, that's a part of the way that the junk deck wants to function. Oh, I miss having demonic consultation in junk. That was awesome. 3. Well, for junk, 4 is too much. Well, it's a different kind of card.
I mean, what is he doing? He's taking out a Crucible? Like, what does that Last night I made him put in the second Crucible. So I guarantee you all day he's just going to be siding out the second Crucible and only leaving one in.
I was wondering why you were so upset. I mean, it doesn't seem right to me against a deck with Wasteland Vindicate. But I was like, didn't realize you had a personal investment in that Crucible.
Yeah, it's the best card in the deck. It's actually the best card in the deck. It's a 3 mana Jason the Mind Sculptor in this format, in that deck. He has Wastelands, Factories, and Fetch lands.
It's kind of like a Phyrexian Arena, really. You keep losing a life every turn and getting your land out.
You can also use it as a land destruction spell every single turn.
I think it's more like Arena, because you only get 1 card. Sure you do. They go right into play. All of them, all at once. Or you're using it to card draw. You're using it to use a cycling.
To be fair, it was a double
Agreed,
wasteland,
but it's still a lot of card draw.
Yeah, he actually was playing that back, and I did have a top.
I'm just saying they're not the same thing, Rashad.
Oh, yeah. Got him all to 6, so pretty sure you keep double wasteland and pop, yeah.
I love me some Crucible, and I think this is one of the matchups where you really want the extra Crucible.
I mean, not happy about it.
I love Crucible too. I think that this is exactly the matchup because you're going to get torn up on your lands. You can have discard from Hymn to Torak, knock those lands into your yard. You've got your own sack lands, and pretty much it demands an answer. It demands a Vindicate.
Yeah, and it's nice that you play Crucible and you return a land with the Crucible the turn you play it, and then your opponent has to Vindicate the Crucible. You've already gotten a land off of it, and that's a land they didn't Vindicate. It's really good in this matchup. And it forces his opponent to react also.
Waiting for the shuffling to be accomplished. This is one of the things that I think Magic Online is so much better at than Paper Magic. Usually I prefer Paper Magic, but just getting rid of the shuffling,
yeah, it's pretty fun to just have no shuffles.
I love that. That's so good. It's not fun.
It's terrible in real life. I've tried to play Battle of the Wits in real life.
I see a extirpate in Jeremy Banks' hand.
So Jerry Thompson has a contest going on currently with a number of friends about who can do the best at the next Star City Games Open Series, playing Battle of Wits and Legacy. Best record.
Wow.
Yeah, contest. So I'm thinking about making the trip out and,
sounds exciting,
battling
actually.
some wits. Wild Research is one of my favorite cards of all time. I have. I was just talking about it. Yeah. It's awesome.
Wild Research was banned in 5-color, the format 5-color, because of its not only its tutoring effect being so slowing, but also it was just so powerful in that format.
Wild Research is one of my favorite decks I've ever played. I was talking about that with friends recently. Yeah. Yeah, if you have no cards in your hand, which is like really easy to engineer, you can like tutor for circular logic and counterspells for free. You can like tutor for moat. You can tutor for humility.
We got the opening of the game. Michael Pozsgay starts off, getting a land. I'm gonna bet it's gonna be basic island. Oh, there we go.
Good.
And this is probably going to be getting a Thought Seize immediately. Is there another swamp in his hand? Is that like 2 land? This
I think
is
it's
probably
a
gonna be
flats.
it's probably going to be a Bayou unless he's got another greenish source. It might be a. It depends on where the other land is. What do we got there?
Horizon Canopy.
So Horizon Canopy. Okay, he can afford to get a swamp then. He can just afford to get a swamp as his first land. Since he's only got 1 other land, not risking the possibility of a wasteland is an important move here.
I don't know. It doesn't set him up to be able to cast Knight of the Reliquary, though. I guess.
Any land pretty much will get him there at that point. If it's a sack land.
He has like wastelands and things like that in his deck.
I think the risk, though, of that is just so huge. He's got other plays. He's got Tarmogoyf. He doesn't have to be fast with his Knight of the Reliquaries.
That's fair.
Tarmogoyf, he's got Bob's, a double Tarmogoyf. He just wants to make sure he hits his 2-drop. The Thoughtseize paving the way. Was that a Brainstorm in response to protect the hand?
Yep.
No, it's a Spell Pierce. That's a Spell Pierce.
Ooh,
Just saying no.
A spicy little number. That was not in the deck when I was hanging out with him last night.
And those are 2 Spell Pierces from the board there, so that's not his main deck. And so now Jeremy has drawn a Wasteland, but he's probably going to push out, it's either a test spell or his real spell. I'm not sure which one he wants to do here.
Goif.
I mean, when you're choosing between a test spell and a real spell as Goif or Dark Confidant, those are both just monsters.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You can't get too upset about it.
Outside. Response.
Mike's probably going to want to set up the predict for next turn. So, if he leads the swords on top, then he'll draw the swords, then he can predict naming Wasteland. I think he probably wants to make the order
Good. Good.
like swords, island, or yeah, swords, wasteland. Okay, so now he puts the he bends the wasteland, draws 2 cards, gets an island, or maybe even gets lucky and gets the plains for the. So he'll predict.
Predict. You name Wasteland.
Anti him.
Well, he's got his graveyard order out of whack. That predict belongs on top of that Wasteland. What would Kurt Hahn say?
The table judge we have actually looks like the character on Wild Research. I don't know if you guys know that burnt. His,
Oh, there we go. He's got a Sackland. Sackland means he can go into Knight of the Reliquary.
Not this table, Judge. The one we've had normally.
It's like 3. 16.
Yeah, he's German? No. Yeah. Alright, so Jeremy ripped a fetch land. This allows him to play Knight of the Reliquary this
Yep.
turn. Mike's probably going to either spin his top or brainstorm in response. Mike can just find one white source.
Yep.
He's gravy. He's absolutely fine. And I mean, 5, 9. And he has 12.
I don't know about that. I think
alongside-
you'd keep going. There you go. That's what you're looking for. Wait, is that a...
Scrubland.
I don't know if he wants a scrubland. I think he wants a green source. I think he wants a savanna.
Yes, Scrubland's pretty dangerous. His opponent has a wasteland in play.
Yeah, I thought that there was a savanna coming down, but I guess not.
I may be wrong. That may just be a savanna, and I can't say it properly.
Looks like a scrubland to
Looks like
me.
a Scrubland to me, right? Yeah, they look pretty similar.
Can you get a confirmation?
The play here is Knight of the Reliquary.
Yep.
Now, Mike's going to be forced to cast either a Brainstorm or spin his top here. He's not going to want to let that resolve. If he can find a white source, it's really not that big of a deal. His hand has multiple copies of Swords to Plowshares. He knows that those are really important in this matchup. So, I mean, Mike's just mulling over his options, thinking about like what the best play is overall.
Yep, it's a
So his
scrubland.
opponent did, in fact, get a Scrubland. So Mike does have the opportunity to use Wasteland to really, really hurt his opponent here. And this is really good for Mike. Mike just found a white source and a counterbalance with that top. So Mike gets to untap. Now, Swords mana off this Tundra here. And is that a beta Tundra?
It looks
That
like a
is
beta.
beta Tundra.
It's either that or he took a Sharpie to a revised Tundra.
That is, I don't think he would do that, so I'm assuming. Man, that is a good-looking Tundra. How much is that? Beta Tundra? Isn't that worth more than, like, some power?
It's worth a lot.
Like, yeah, it's worth, like 2 of those is, like, $1,000. It's ridiculous. You know, selling that land could feed probably about 20 children in Africa for over a year.
But thankfully, we're here watching it. Instead, be tapped. You know, beta
A
tundras.
utilitarian would never own a land like that.
Beta tundras want to be tapped. They don't want to be sold.
So, Mike, main phase swords the knight. Then the
Now look at that.
top man is still up.
So that wasteland is actually problematic because that Troglyph is still out there. It's still doing work.
Yeah, I mean, if he makes the mistake of not wastelanding right now.
There we go.
All right, so
And now I would say march out Bob. Just throw him out there.
yeah,
I kind of wonder what this game would be like if Bob had been the card he'd put out there instead of that Tarmogoyf.
oh, one of them far away in his favor right now. I've always been a proponent of leading with Bob. Because the longer he's in play, the harder it is to lose. And also, like, when you play Goyfs late, they're like 5/6s.
I'll brainstorm.
Brainstorm shows him Force of Will. And Force of Will.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he's got a counterbalance and double force off that brainstorm.
It's insane.
I mean, he's missing the land he needs, though.
Yeah, it's he's not in good shape, but I mean,
He's in pretty bad shape, as a matter of fact.
I'm waiting
No,
to see how he takes care of this.
Have you played a land? Yeah, you played one. Yes. Top.
Spins the top to get a little bit more information.
Found another brainstorm. Huh, so... He sees an Elspeth there. It's not what he wants to see. Now he's going to force this. He's probably going to remove the other force from his hand. Yeah, that's exactly what he does. Goes to 12. It's down to 2 cards in hand. Goes up to 3 during his draw step. So he's got to play this seat. He gets to play counterbalance, and it's on.
Now, right now, that
Yeah, he's one big reason.
oh, look at that, saved by the top of his deck with regards to his land.
Yeah, he is. He is running hot to Michael Pozgay's cold. Mike is running very bad in this spot here.
Tarmogoyf.
Schmarberschmarf.
With that,
Let's spin this top.
spin the top. 1. Is that a counterbalance there? I can't quite tell.
No, that is a brainstorm, Elspeth, and a. What was the last card?
He does not reveal it. He'll show us to it in a second.
That's the brainstorm. Do you main phase top here?
I think you main phase brainstorm.
That's probably better.
Brainstorm.
There's a sack land.
Ding.
It's a little bit in. I mean, you're still in a world of pain.
Okay. So Mike's going down to 7. Now, how big are these Tarmogoyfs? These Tarmogoyfs are 4 power.
Creature, instant, land. Did we see a sorcery? Thoughtseize, sorcery. No enchantments, no artifacts. So they're 4/5s. That's
But remember, Mike has Moat.
Moat's going to be too slow this game, though. He doesn't have the,
The second white. He
Yeah.
doesn't have the other stuff.
and he's already laid a land.
Yeah, no.
So
this
he
game-
needs to
this
find
game
a
is not
swords
good
now,
enough.
and then another card beyond that.
Yeah. Well, he has a swords in hand.
Didn't he already use that?
No, he had 2.
I'm not sure about that. I think he just has a force of 1 hand.
Pretty sure he has swords in hand. I don't think he has a force in hand.
No, we'll see in a second. One card in hand.
I'll top now.
All right, Mike's gonna spin his top again.
A land.
Oh, he's got it. He's got all the tools he needs now.
Well, all the tools. What's the card in hand? If you're right, if he has the swords, he's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, that also just taps him out. And if he doesn't have a 3 on top, then a Vindicate means he loses.
Yeah, his opponent only has a verdict in hand.
This is true.
So his opponent's on verdict only. He has swords path.
Okay.
And Mike's going to need to play a little bit faster if he wants to win this match also.
Here we go. Verdict to force the swords out. What's that card do? I'm just saying that because Michael Pozsgay is picking it up.
Just reading it. Saying,
And here comes the emptying of the hand.
Okay, so Jeremy's going to gain a bit more life.
4. I think they're 4 5s. Yeah, oh, 4 5s. Yes, yes, yes.
Wrong pile.
Yep.
Okay. Comes in.
Go ahead.
And Mike decides, let's top again. Let's see what's going on out here. He's going to say, well, I need this path exile. That's important. So he untaps, draws the path. Probably tops main phase. Although he doesn't have to. He's just going to think about it. He doesn't have time to think about this. Mike, you got to play.
Good.
So, paths the Goyf. This is,
Okay, now we're in a position where it's a question of how many threes that Michael Pozsgay has versus the actual cards that Jeremy Banks has that matters, which at this point, it's probable that Michael Pozsgay has enough twos to typically stop a Tarmogoyf or Dwarf Confidant, which
well,
means...
I mean, he doesn't have many twos. His only twos in the deck are counterbalances and one powder cake.
And predicts.
Predicts, but I meant like artifacts or enchantments. I was thinking about tutoring with the light tutor.
No, I'm thinking about just keeping the counterbalance lockup.
Yeah.
Versus the threes from his opponent, which seem like they might be harder to deal with. Because in terms of stopping that, it looks as though there
Crucible.
are only one Crucible Worlds because he boarded the other one out.
Yeah.
So he's got to find Crucible if he wants to stop Knight of the Reliquary or Vindicate or Pernicious Deed.
Yeah, I mean, he can certainly do that.
Of course, Jeremy, otherwise, is just going to be very hard underneath the counterbalance.
So, Mike uses Wasteland, activates top. And
Okay,
predict.
you know, this is one of the reasons that we have to worry usually when we're playing a deck like this. You have to actually kill your opponent and then go to a game 3 and kill your opponent again. You know, it doesn't happen all because, you know, you've got your counterspell, your counterbalance top out. You've actually got to do the work, and that can take time.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to do. Like, I've played blue-white counterbalance before at a Grand Prix, and I got a lot of draws just because I'd win a match. I mean, I'd win a game, and then I'd lose a game, and it didn't matter how locked up I had the third game. I could never win. All right, so I'm actually surprised the predicts stayed in like this.
And he does the predicting cycling to get through more of his deck.
Yep. All right, so.
And Spell Pierce, Force of Will, Jace, is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that means that... Wow.
I mean, this was actually like pretty poorly planned by Mike.
That second counterbalance sure looks like it might have been nice in his hand. Or like, you know, on top of the library.
Or should have left it. Like, it seems awkward when you have a top in play.
Here's Jace. Bouncy, bouncy. The Jace does let him deal with that for several turns, but...
Oh, yeah, I mean, the Jace is just going to completely dominate the game.
Well, if nothing else happens... Oh, boy. Yikes. He can double threat here. Get another green source, sir. Get another green source. You only have one green source. Get another green source. Yeah.
Is it an Elspeth? Is it an Elspeth? Yeah, I would have loved to have that actually.
Huh, so... Alright, so, Confidant. You can tell that he has something else to play that requires green mana. I'm surprised he didn't activate his counterbalance. Why did he not activate his counterbalance?
Is that a predict there too now?
Yeah, he didn't activate his counterbalance when the guy played the Confidant.
Oh my god.
Well, he just didn't activate his top. And there was a 2 as the bottom card, and then now his opponent resolved the Confidant. He's gonna die. Huh.
Okay, let's see how this plays out then. It's not over, it's just really bad.
That's true. Maybe Mike just finds a moat, puts it into play. So, wow. Yeah, activating Sensei's top is just like this action that takes a lot of time. A lot of time when you're playing against it, you find yourself almost like not paying attention to the game. I know, like, I've had issues where I've been, like, I've seen my opponent just topping, and I'm just sitting there in horrible pain.
So he's currently at 2 life.
You didn't play any land yet, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, spin your top, play factory, bounce your knight, pass.
Still hanging on.
I mean, I think Mike should just be in solid control of this game. Like, if he had topped and gotten that predict, he would have just crushed his opponent here. Now, Mike's looking at his top 3 cards, mulling over the options.
Tap top to draw.
Alright, so he flips the top and plays the workshop, and it's gonna, or the factory, and then passes.
Jace will.
I'm sad that it's not a workshop.
Yeah.
Bounce knight.
There we go.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yep. So
22.
I agree with Mike's course of plays that turn.
Oh. Oh boy.
Pretty good.
Yeah, there's only 5 minutes left.
Mm.
I don't want to lose because of how I lost game 1.
This is rough. Do the quick check.
Just running thoughts, he's out there just seeing what's happening.
And there's a top there.
I mean, he knew the top was there, right?
Yes, he knew the top was there, and there's a top in the yard that he could extirpate, but that doesn't help him because the extirpate gets countered, which is a rare thing to have happen.
Yeah.
So... Oh, but the top is still there. Oh my god!
What's going on?
He didn't do the he didn't do the trigger. He didn't trigger his counterbalance because he didn't. Whoa.
Oh my gosh. Come on.
Okay, well, you know, one of the things I know. 5 minutes left in the round. He's speeding it up, and there are some costs to that. Wow.
You're tapped up. Yeah, I'll force it. Go 2.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Attack. That's going to kill the Mishra's factory, happily.
It's a 3/3.
It's a sick
that's-
factory.
that
That's a
is
sick
summoning
factory. That's a sick factory.
That is something.
That is a summoning sick factory.
You're
Oh,
right.
judges, that's a summoning sick factory. There we go. They
Yeah.
got it.
He got it. He got it.
Whew.
He recognized it himself. Yeah.
Okay.
He untapped his lands and then just said, and picked it up and looked at it and said something to his opponent during the graveyard. So he knew. He just didn't recognize it first.
Yeah, keep it. Go.
Okay, so he fate seals. I'm bewildered at this game.
8? Yeah.
Oh my god. Pernicious Deed is on the table.
Card's pretty good.
It doesn't stop the Jace, but it does a lot of
not
other
stop
work.
Jace.
Bottom. Go ahead.
What did he just draw? Is that a confidant?
Looks like a Bob.
Let's try to play a little quick here.
Oh, he's going to try to blow up the Jace?
Pull up the deep.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pass. 7.
All right.
Nope.
Go, and now he's basically playing for a draw, hoping to get a Jace win. So at this point, if you're Jeremy Banks, your plan then is just to not put spells into play. And there's probably not going to be able to kill you in time. You hope to kill him, but you don't cast anything if you don't have to. I just don't see Pozsgay being able to even win on extra turns if we're so low on time. Okay, now maybe there's some attacking possibilities.
Did he just path after Fate Sealing?
Yes.
He left.
Okay. Yeah, just as a note to people watching, it's generally a good idea to Fate Seal after you cast Path to Exile.
Well, the thing is that we're all watching, right?
Yeah.
As watchers, as
I know, and I'm just
we-
busting his chops. Like,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
Mike. I like Mike. He's a friend of mine.
he's a friend of mine
Like,
too. But
yeah,
I'm just
you know.
saying, it's always so easy to see everything when you're watching.
Yeah.
And Mike played yesterday. I think he played the whole tournament, right?
Yeah, he X2'd.
So I mean, he was playing for 10 rounds of Magic yesterday. He's probably
Yeah.
still pretty tired.
Yeah, the blue-white counterbalance deck, though, is very powerful. It's just, it is very difficult to pilot. There are a lot of decisions you need to make.
Well, I mean, I had already passed the turn. So
We're still doing your end step when you cast.
Okay, there's a pause for some reason. So, okay. It's a land. Don't lay it. Yeah, just hold on to it. It's, okay, what is
Alright.
that? 9 counters on Jace? Is that what I'm seeing, or is it more? 10?
I believe it's 9.
Okay, Fate
So put it
Seal.
to 11.
We've got to actually resolve that Fate Seal.
Who should I target? Let me think for a moment. I'll target me. Oh, I'm not going to Fate Seal. I will brainstorm. Yeah, but one thing that is really difficult about Legacy is finishing your matches on time. And a lot of these archetypes are really, really difficult to, like, pilot well quickly.
He's going
Because
down
there's
to
so much happening.
he's going down to 1 life, which is, he's already pretty much. All that does is turn off his other Force of Wills for free and his fetch lands.
I mean, the shuffle effect's pretty good for him right now. I'm surprised, though, that he didn't... Like, he's on the Fate Seal plan. I don't know why he's not running with it.
He might have just felt that maybe with his opponent.
Oh, they did call time?
brainstorm.
Is that a predict?
That is a predict. Why is he, When did he guess that predict?
He hasn't. He's resolving a brainstorm right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So why keep a fetch land when you are at 1 life? Okay. There you go. There you go.
Oh,
Extra
they're in
turns.
extra turns. Okay,
Okay.
so... Mike is
He's-
dead.
He has to kill his opponent, and what are his ways to do that? Elspeth. He's hunting for an Elspeth as hard as he can, but an Elspeth can't do it in. Yeah, that's it. That's the end. All over but the crying.
Looted Delta.
I mean, it'd be one thing if he had Lord of Extinction in his deck, but but he doesn't have that. So attack for 4.
Okay, so it's getting in there for a bit. Step 2.
Just cast a counterbalance.
Sounds good.
Hey, Swords to Plowshares in a Wasteland.
Yeah, I mean, that's a way to deal with
There you go.
the factory onslaught.
I mean, not that you're not at 17 life, and he's only got 1 turn to kill you. Draws. There's the Elspeth. Came to the party a little late.
It's too late to apologize. I mean, even if Mike had hit had remembered the trigger on his counterbalance and
Which
countered
one?
the extirpate.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yes. Even had he done that, I don't think he would have finished this game on time.
I agree.
There's no way I can.
I mean, I think one of the things to do too is like if you know your weaknesses, right? Like I'm a player that as my day finishes, I get mentally weary. So I try not to play certain decks that are going to tax me too much that way. And he apparently is somebody that's going to play a little bit slower. So in a tournament like this with only 50 minutes, he might not have wanted to play the counterbalance deck. Like, let's assume for the sake of argument that he won this game. There was probably no way he was going to win Game 3.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, there's absolutely no way he could win Game 3.
And, Jeremy left a couple of different openings in this game, early in the game, where, if he'd had a Tarmogoyf or a Dark Confidant out instead of a Tarmogoyf, I think he would have easily just smashed this game. But he still came in and almost got it anyway, and then there were some land